Underwood is suing her ex-boyfriend, construction worker Sean Burge, for a loan to have his truck lifted and for impound fees. Tammy claims Sean lied to her about being married.
Now, this is case number 492 on the calendar, the matter of Underwood versus Burge. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
You're the wife?
Yes, ma'am.
You're the girlfriend?
The ex-girlfriend.
You're the bargain? Don't see it. So something special that's just between you and you. Miss Underwood, according to your complaint, Mr. Burge and you were involved in a relationship. You didn't know that he was still married at the time.
Correct.
And you loaned him money. Loaned
Correct.
him money to do something called lifting his truck. I don't know what that means. You'll explain it to me in 10 seconds or less. Then you bailed out his car when it got impounded. What else?
2 tickets.
2 tickets. And you said you made loans to him because you actually thought that you were going to be building a life together based upon his promises and his statement that you were going to go to live in Arizona together and whatever. When you tried to find out when he was going to pay you, you went to his house and lo and behold, his wife answered the door.
Correct.
Mr. Burge said everything that you gave him that he acknowledges he took were given as gifts.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he never fooled you. You knew that he was married and that he had children because he has tattoos of them all over him.
Tattoos does not mean that he's
That they're
still
together.
married, or the fact that...
And he says he doesn't owe you a quarter. Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long are you married, Mr. Burge?
Over 6 years.
You have children?
Yes, 4.
When did you leave your wife?
Around April, May.
And when did you meet Miss Underwood?
Right at the end of May.
Where?
Through an ad in the paper.
What kind of an ad?
It was like a penny saver ad.
What did it say? Shh, quiet!
It said, you know, this is who I am. And so I responded to it. You know, she sounded interesting.
Why, after 6 years of marriage and 4 children, you separated, in a couple of weeks you felt the necessity to find somebody else?
It's just, I like having someone around. I wasn't out to build a relationship. I was out to find a friend. And, you know, things were going good with us.
And when, for the first time, did she give you money?
It would be September 9th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
September 9th.
But I didn't give him anything.
Shh. Tell me what she gave you money for.
She did a lift on my truck.
Well, I don't know what that means, a lift for your truck. Means it's raised off the ground?
It raises it off the ground with bigger tires.
Why did you need that?
It was just something I wanted.
You have 4 children, so don't you think you should want to send them more money than raise your truck off the ground?
My children are well taken care of.
How much money did you earn?
Say again?
How much money did you earn?
I was making $15 an hour.
Oh, my God. Fortune. So what you're telling me is, on $15 an hour, you can support your 4 children and you.
My wife works also.
How old are your children?
Twin 9-year-olds, a 5-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old boy.
And who watches them when you're both working?
Daycare.
Who pays for the daycare?
We do.
Really? Your wife must be a very successful CEO of a major company.
Well, she just works very hard for what she gets.
Harder than you.
We work equally.
Really? What kind of work do you do, Miss Burge?
I work for the phone company.
What's your annual salary?
54.
So you're the primary breadwinner in your family.
I make more an hour, yes.
Stand up. How many months were you separated from your husband?
Roughly about 6.
How much money did he send you for support during those 6 months?
We still live together, but we just stayed.
Is what you're telling me, Miss Burge, that you still lived under the same roof while you were separated?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that, Miss Underwood?
No, I did not.
You think your husband told that to her?
I don't know.
Trust me. Did he tell you about Miss Underwood?
No, we didn't share personal stuff about each other.
No, only 4 children. Did you ask him where he got the money to have his truck lifted?
No, ma'am.
Let's see. Where did Mr. Burge tell you that he was living?
He said exactly where he was living.
Had you ever been there to visit him?
No, because he was always at my house.
How often was he at your house?
couple times during the week, not for very long, but he came over a couple times during the week on Sundays because Sunday was his only day off.
But you never went to his house until you were looking for him for the money.
Until New Year's Eve, correct.
Well, you weren't looking for him for the money New Year's Eve. You were just looking to find him?
I actually was just looking to find him because he told me that we would be together, and then his friends called and said that he was drunk and passed out, so they were taking him to their house. So I decided that enough was enough, and I wanted to go find out what was going on, and lo and behold, the wife and 4 kids answered the door.
Mr. Burge, did you tell Miss Underwood that you were still living at home with your wife?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Why not?
I didn't see it as relevant at the time. We were just friends.
Well, you were friends, you were intimate.
Yeah.
You had taken money from her.
Yeah.
You knew that she had feelings for you.
Yes.
Did you feel as if you were being honest with her?
Not completely, no.
Right. I think you got the better end of the deal.
I think so too.
Unfortunately, she didn't find out about his character until they had 4 children together.
That's her problem.
That's her problem. And not only that,
she can have him. I don't want him.
she can have him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It was okay for her to do this for him until she found out that we were still living together and he left her.
Because you got the prize. I want to tell you, my darling, you got the booby prize.
And later today,
Were you planning to get married?
Yes, we were going to be married September 17th, a week after he unfortunately passed away.
People invited to the wedding,
Yes.
including his daughter?
No.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tammy Underwood says ex-boyfriend Sean Burge owes for having his truck lifted and for impound fees. Tammy says Sean is living a double life.
Tell me about having the truck lifted.
He said that the weight of all the tools and stuff he used for work weighed the truck down too much, so if we did that, then it wouldn't be as much of a strain on the truck. And at that point, I'm agreeing that, you know, we're going to try and start a life. We had already talked about starting a life, and I told him, okay, I said, this is the deal. I have a credit card that just got paid off. We could do this, but you have to make the payments on it.
And he said?
He said, okay. He said that would not be a problem. He would be able to make the payments. So we...
Now let me hear your version of the truck, sir.
Your Honor, months or weeks before that, we were talking. My birthday was coming up in October, and she asked me, you know, what do you want for your birthday? Jokingly, I said, I'd like to get my truck lifted. I never made arrangements to pay anything back, because if I could afford to pay her back on it, I would have paid for it myself.
What was the next thing you paid off for him?
His truck got towed.
When did your truck get towed?
I don't remember the exact date.
And what did you do when you found out it was towed?
I called to her and asked her if she could get it out.
Why don't you call your wife?
I didn't choose to.
You can either have a happy life or an unhappy life. The choice is yours. Do you understand?
I understand.
Just because you make an initial mistake doesn't mean that you have to go through your whole life suffering for it. How much did it cost to have the truck lifted?
$32.50.
How much did it cost to get the car out of impound?
$318.
And now we have the tickets. What about the tickets? Did he ask you to pay those tickets?
Yes, he called me at work and said, can we afford for you to pay the tickets? And I said, there's no we. I can do it if you can make the payments.
To pay for the tickets.
I said, you have to agree to make the payments.
How much were the tickets?
One was $606 and one was $446.
What do you want to say?
I wanted to mention that I just want to reflect back on something that she had said when she said that he used to come over quite frequently. He works Monday through Saturday, and he was only gone on a Sunday a few times that I can recall.
Well, what do you think that this phantom relationship that he had with Miss Underwood was?
I really don't know. I wasn't involved in it, but
right.
I
You
knew...
do know, however, that he solicited her friendship while the two of you were married and living under the same roof. Mm-hmm. That he asked her for help, according to him, right?
Right.
All something that someone would say to a new friend. We're building something together. I need some help right now. Mm-hmm. Separated from my wife, whatever. We're divorced. I don't know. Did he say he's separated or divorced?
No, said he was divorced for about 1.5 years.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
I understand that.
Do you believe her that that's what he said? I want you to believe her, Miss Burge.
Okay.
That's what he said.
May I mention another thing?
Sure.
The night that she showed up on our doorstep, she did mention to me that she had told him that he needs to put an effort toward the relationship or she was going to sue him for the money.
And your point would be?
You know, it was okay for her to do this for him until she found out that we were still living together and that he and I ended up going, you know, started working on a relationship and he left her.
Because you got the prize. Is that right? Because you got the prize? And she didn't. And she didn't. I want to tell you, my darling, you got the booby prize.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tammy Underwood says ex-boyfriend Sean Burge owes for having his truck lifted and for impound fees. Tammy says Sean is living a double life.
He's an unethical, amoral man who used her when it suited him. And he didn't even have the decency to say to her, I'm going back to my wife. I know you spent almost $5,000 on me. I'm going to pay you back, little by little, whatever it takes, because I don't want you to feel as if you've been abused by me. Do you understand? That would have been a decent human being. Instead, he says, see ya. You feel like a fool? You were a fool? I'm going back to my wife with my new lifted truck. And if that's the kind of character you want your children to grow up around, stick with them. You will reap what you sow. The next fool will be you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,620. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Why did Judge Hughes, you may step out.
We started building a life together. He said he loved me, and I never knew about the wife until New Year's Eve.
I didn't lie to her about anything. I might not have told her things, but I didn't lie to her.
We had all kinds of plans. It wasn't just like a month, okay, boom, done, you know.
It just didn't work between me and her.
Christmas, you know, he promised my son he would be there, and all of a sudden didn't show.
Mistress is a mistress, you know. You end up coming out with everything or you come out with nothing.
It really hurt, because I was in love with him, so, but she can have him.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fitzgerald versus Whitney. Step forward, please.
23-year-old homemaker Kimberly Fitzgerald is suing her deceased father's fiancée, Leslie Whitney, for the return of her father's belongings. Kimberly says Leslie is a scammer.
Miss Fitzgerald, Miss Whitney and your father were together at the time that he died, and he died suddenly. He was a young man. He had a heart attack. And you want some property that you say belonged to your father. You're one of two children. You say your brother doesn't want anything of your father's. You do. He died without a will. And according to you, Miss Whitney won't let you have his belongings. Right?
Yep.
When did your father have a heart attack? Do you know the date?
September 9th, 2004.
And prior to September 9th, when had you seen him?
I saw him about 3 days earlier.
Where?
He stopped by my house to see my son, well, and me.
Prior to September the 6th, when your father came to see your son, when had you previously seen him?
The 4th of July.
How old was your father?
57.
Miss Whitney, how long had you and Vincent been together?
Over a year we were together, but we did not live together until June of last year.
He had another girlfriend in March.
Shh. You moved into his house?
Yes.
Where was he when he passed away?
He was on the road. He was a truck driver.
According to what I read, Vincent took out a life insurance policy with you as the beneficiary. Is
Yes.
that right? When did he do that?
In August.
Were you planning to get married?
Yes, we were going to be married September 17th, a week after he unfortunately passed away.
People invited to the wedding,
Yes.
including his daughter?
No.
Why not?
He said that he didn't want, there wasn't a close-knit family, and that's what he had told me. I had never met her, and he offered to, when he wanted to go see his grandchild and stuff, but it was like an in-and-out thing. He never really talked about his children.
How much was the life insurance policy that he took out in August?
$20,000?
But he named you as the beneficiary?
Yes.
Was there any other life insurance policy for any of his children?
No, there was not.
Did he have any bank accounts?
Yes, he did, but one was overdrawn, and the other one only had about $50 in it.
Now, I gather the day after your father died, you and your mother
Yes.
went to his apartment.
Yes. I didn't even know about her.
And how did you get into his apartment?
I was sitting outside. I didn't go into the apartment until Leslie came home.
How did your mother get into the apartment?
I don't know.
How did they get into the apartment?
They climbed through the kitchen window. It was a basement apartment. The windows were level with the ground. And I was on my way back from the hospital, and I came home, and she was outside with the baby, and the mother was in the bedroom.
What was your mother doing there?
She told me to wait outside. We had gone to my father's house to get his suit so that he could be buried. We were making preparations for his wake. And there was other paperwork and stuff that I needed. Since I am the administrator of my father's estate, I needed to get paperwork to straighten
Well,
everything
you weren't
out.
the administrator of his estate at that time because he died without a will.
No, at that time
So
I was not.
you had to petition the court for letters of administration.
Yes.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Now, according to Miss Whitney, she ultimately allowed you to come in and take certain property from the apartment.
Yes.
Okay. Now you're going to tell me what it is that you want.
We just want...
Who's we?
Well, okay, I just want the value of the property that was missing that Leslie told me I could have.
What do you want? Not the value. What do you want?
The kitchen table, the computer, the camera with the printer.
Kitchen table?
No, there's no kitchen table.
No kitchen. There's no kitchen
I
table.
moved
What else?
into the house myself.
What year?
Beginning of end of 2003.
Get over it. What else?
The computer. There was a brand new computer.
Where's the computer?
There was no computer. There was no computer. There's no kitchen table.
Okay. You have no idea where the computer is?
No, I don't.
What's next?
The digital camera.
Digital camera.
No, I don't. He had that. He used to carry that with him in his truck, and I didn't
What's
go
next?
to the truck.
The printer that went with the digital camera.
Miss Fitzgerald, get over it. From what I gather, based upon the fact that your father had taken out a life insurance policy, and instead of naming his 2 children as beneficiaries, he named this lady as a beneficiary of his insurance policy, you did not enjoy with your father the kind of relationship that was warm, continuous, and loving. Is that a fair statement? Realized that she was living there and that they were living together. They planned to be married. They clearly were in a monogamous, intimate relationship because the life insurance policy was taken out in August. You got a lot of your father's property. Nothing there, as far as I'm concerned, are memento things that you're asking for. You don't want to hang the kitchen table on your charm bracelet or the camcorder or anything else.
No, but there was family pictures.
If you said to me he had a watch that I would like to be able to give to my child one day because we were very close, or he had a ring that was a family heirloom or something that was very close to him, you want a kitchen table, a computer, a camera, and a printer.
And pictures.
Should have taken pictures. What pictures?
I didn't have access to them.
You went into the house 3 times. You didn't even mention the pictures, Miss Fitzgerald, when you said you wanted the value of these things or the things. You didn't even mention pictures. I think you have to have something to occupy your time more than what you have. Because this is nonsense. Get over it. Get a life.
The decency to show
That's
up at
all.
his funeral.
Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Ari Fabrini is suing her estranged husband, David Fortier, for the cost to change the locks on her home and for breaking her windshield.
All rise.
That's case number 118 on the calendar in the matter of Fabrini versus Fortier. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Fabrini, this is your husband. You are currently separated. You have children together, and you have 2 claims against him.
Yes, Your
First one is that you caught him trespassing in your home, as a result of which you had to change the locks in the house. You want him to pay for the changed locks. And on the same date, he was angry and vandalized your car, and you want him to pay for that. Mr. Fabrini does not deny that he was in the house. He said he was supposed to be babysitting for the children that day, and he does, however, deny that he did anything to your car. So I have some questions. How long have you been separated?
Since 2003, Your Honor. I've changed my...
Just a second.
Sorry.
Are you legally separated?
Yes, we are. I have separation papers here.
Okay, so you have a legal writing, but there's never been a judicial determination of separation. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. How long were you married?
Well, we've been together 16 years.
And how many children do you have, Mr. Fortier?
3.
How old are they? 13,
12, and 7.
Been separated a long time. Is there any reason why you're not divorced?
I don't want a divorce. I mean, we pretty well set our life, and instead of trying to make it harder. I'm trying to make it, get back together for the sake of the kids, not just for the selfish reasons.
Did you stay in the marital home, Miss Fabrini?
No. I signed over the 2 houses we owned at the time of marriage. I let him have them. I never asked him for child support. I'm the one who ended the marriage. I bought my own house in 2003.
Okay, so the house that you say he was trespassing in
was my house.
Was your house,
Yes,
not the
ma'am.
marital home?
No.
And when was this, Miss Fabrini?
On June 1st.
Okay, tell me what happened.
I came home from work, and Mr. Fortier was sitting at my kitchen table, and I asked him how he got in the house. He obviously stole keys from me. I've never given him a set of keys to my house. Of course, he denies it. I don't know if you're still denying it, but...
Well, just a second. So on June 1st, you found him sitting at the kitchen table.
Yes.
And what did he say to you when you confronted him?
He denied the fact that he had my keys, and I asked him what he was doing in my house, and he was waiting for the children to come home. And I told him, you're not allowed in my house unless I invite you in. So he refused to give. We had an argument. I kicked him out, so he was kind of like angry with me.
And what happened?
He left, and I just forgot about it, did my own thing with the kids. And that night I went to bed, and the kids told me...
Don't tell me what the kids told you, because that's hearsay.
Well, the next morning when I woke up, the windshield in my car was smashed. So I figured he did it.
You have any proof that he did it?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
I'd like to hear the proof.
I have a witness.
Witness's name?
Sabrina Weeks.
Sabrina Weeks? Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in these matters?
Yes.
Can't hear you.
Yes.
Sabrina, how old are you?
12.
And how do you know Miss Fabrini?
Her daughter.
My daughter. She's her best friend.
Okay, is that how you know each other?
Yeah.
She sleeps over at my house all the time.
Okay, were you sleeping at Miss Fabrini's home on June the 1st?
Yes.
Did you witness anything with regard to her car?
Yes.
Tell me what you saw.
Okay, I was sleeping over, and we were sleeping, and me and her heard a loud crash, and we went to look at the window, and we saw Dave with a crowbar over by the car.
And you sure it was Mr. Fortier?
Yes.
Mr. Fortier, how did you get into the house on June the 1st?
Well, I had keys.
You had keys. Where did you get the keys from, sir?
Well, I had them from, she gave it to me to come and babysit.
Sorry, Your
No,
Honor.
shh, stop. Miss Fabrini, don't say anything. Now, Mr. Fortier, do you pay child support for your children?
Well, no, but...
The answer is no.
No.
Why not?
Well, I still pay for stuff around their house.
What do you pay for regularly?
The car, her car insurance.
Your Honor,
Do you not pay child support, sir, because your wife never asks you for child support?
No, well, she should have asked. If she wanted so, just ask.
Mr. Fortier, put your hand down, please. Do you have a lawyer in this matrimonial proceeding?
Right now, no.
Mr. Fortier, do you know my background, what kind of work I used to do before I did this work?
No.
I was a judge in the family court, and I was in the family court for 25 years. And you don't have a lawyer, so I feel comfortable about giving you this advice. It's both personal advice and professional advice, sir. And I don't know whether anybody's ever said it to you. You look like a very nice man, but you look like a sad man because you don't have your family with you. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, okay.
My sense from you, sir, is you don't have your family with you, and there is good reason that you and your wife are not together. She wanted out of this marriage so badly that she gave up certain rights that every one of the states of our union mandate, which is that a non-custodial parent pays child support. There isn't a judge in this country that would permit, without serious inspection, an order that said that a non-custodial parent wasn't paying child support. You haven't paid child support for 3 years. So my sense is that your wife wanted out of this marriage that badly that she said, you take the houses, you take the property, you take everything, just give me my freedom.
Yeah, that's her saying. She makes it sound like it's been hell, but...
Just a second. I understand what you're saying, but what you're saying is that you don't want a divorce because you want your family back together. Mr. Fortier, you're 40 years old. You're a young man. It's young. Believe me, from where I'm sitting, 40 is young. I would take it tomorrow, Mr. Fortier. I'm giving you advice that some people would pay a lot of money for. You've got to put a period and move on. Not with your children. Your children will always be your children, and they will only have one father. There's no question about that. They're old enough to know that you're their father. Nobody's going to substitute for a father. You're their father. But this lady doesn't want to live with you anymore. So you have to put a period and say, this portion of my life, no matter how painful it is for me, is over. I have to move on. And the first thing you have to do is you have to consent to a divorce, Mr. Fortier.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Next time, don't do it. I mean,
Listen to me. I know that you're angry.
just tell him to leave me alone.
Listen to me.
What's he going to break?
Stop it.
And later today,
What kind of concert was it?
It was a reggae festival.
Where do you stay?
I ended up having to sleep on the side of a road.
Sounds delicious.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Fabrini claims her estranged husband, David Fortier, stole the keys to her home and smashed the windshield of her car.
Now, put a period and say, it's over. And the longer you prolong that, the more damage you're going to do to your children. You and your wife brought these children into the world because you wanted to create a loving home for them and want to see them grow up to be wonderful people. You didn't bring them into this world to hurt them. But with the kind of stress you're putting on their mother, that's hurting your children. So you have to stop being selfish, Mr. Fortier, because what you're really doing is being selfish. Not to her, forget her, but she's the custodial parent for your children. She takes care of them. And what you're doing is creating a stressful environment for them. And you have to stop. Really, you have to stop. Because not only is it bad for them, it's also not right for you. You're 40 years old. You have to give yourself a chance to go out and have another life. You're young. You're young. You're never going to be without your kids. But you want to give them the best possible shot of growing up stress-free. And right now you're creating stress for your children. Because there isn't a question in my mind. I don't have to ask you. Isn't a question in your mind that you damaged her car? This little girl wouldn't come here and lie. No question. You were so angry that your wife said to you, this is my house. I bought this house. You can't be here. That you didn't have control, that you tried to regain control and you damaged her car. You're hurting yourself, but you're also hurting your children because your 12-year-old daughter, Shauna, saw you do that to her mother's car. She saw you be so angry. That's not healthy, Mr. Fortier. You have to stop. And if you need help stopping, spend some of the money that you're not giving to your wife and child support to go get some help. I gave you my best advice. It's advice that has 40 years backing it up. Put a period. Move on. Let it go. Okay. Change the locks for $124. To fix the windshield was $534.
And 3 days off work.
Why did you take 3 days off from work?
I couldn't drive to work. The windshield was broken. It took me 3 days because I had to pay for it, repair it, and then get to work. It's my work vehicle.
Do you get paid by the week?
Yes, I do.
So you got paid for the week?
Oh, I didn't get paid that week. I have 3 days that weren't missing.
But did you get paid for the week?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
How much do you make a day?
$80 a day. And I have a paycheck stub here, too.
I'd like to see it.
And that's without my bonuses, so I'm letting him off a little easy. Next time, don't do it. I mean,
listen to me, Miss Fabrini. Miss Fabrini.
Yes?
I want you to listen to me. I know that you're angry.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know whether whatever I said to him had any impact.
I hope so.
Shh. A little bit, maybe?
I hope not.
Shh. I'm asking him.
Yeah, of course.
A little bit?
Just tell him to leave me alone.
Listen to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You gotta stop it.
Okay.
Let it settle in with him.
What's he gonna break?
Stop it. I get that you're angry. And I get that there was reason why you gave up all those things. I don't want to go into it.
Yes, Your Honor.
You got to move on. Because you're hurting your children and you're hurting yourself. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $898. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Engelhardt versus Sykowski. Step forward, please.
21-year-old Kimberly Engelhardt is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Denise Sykowski, for the cost of 2 tickets to a reggae festival.
Miss Engelhardt,
Yes.
according to the complaint that I read, a group of people were going to a concert, and the defendant was a friend of yours.
Correct.
You asked her if she wanted to join group at the concert. You say that Miss Sikowski said that she definitely wanted to go, along with her boyfriend. You put the pair of tickets on your credit card. Turns out that only Miss Sikowski went. You wanted to pay for both of the tickets. The remainder on her ticket. She didn't give you the full amount.
Yes.
Miss Sikowski says she only said she was ready to go to the concert, and her boyfriend hadn't committed to go to the concert, and if you didn't think long and hard enough about contacting him, then that's your problem, not hers. He didn't go. So, Miss Sikowski, is this the boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me your name.
I'm Chris Holton.
How old are you, Chris?
I'm 20.
And you?
21.
How long have you been a couple?
For almost 2 years.
Do you live together?
Yes, ma'am.
You live together in an apartment that you share?
We lived together in an apartment for a year, and then we live in a house now.
That you
together.
lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When was the concert?
The first weekend in August.
What kind of concert was it?
It was a reggae festival.
A reggae festival?
Yes, it was 3 day long.
Where do you stay?
You camp along the river, and wherever there's a place, you set up your tent.
Sounds delicious. Okay. Now, Miss Sikowski, when your friend Miss Engelhardt discussed it with you, tell me what you said to her.
Well, first of all, it was all 4 of us at my apartment, and
4 of you, including this gentleman?
Yes, ma'am.
That's your boyfriend?
Yes.
And she asked us, she had already paid for all 4 of the tickets. And I said that that sounded lovely, and I wanted to go definitely. And Chris said that it sounded good, but he could not commit to it because he didn't know his financial state right then and if he had other plans going on.
Is that what he said?
I am not exactly sure what he said, but I remember that she agreed to wanting to go.
She said she wanted to go. Did she say she or they?
She said she wanted to go, but later on, before the concert started, she told me that they were both going to go.
When you say before the concert started, when did she tell you that they were both going to go?
Maybe it was in July.
In between this first conversation, which was in what month, by the way? The first conversation at your house?
I believe it was in May.
Between May and July, had you tried to sell either one or both of these tickets?
No, I didn't, because I assumed that she would like to purchase the ticket, if not both of them.
Okay. But it wasn't until July that she told you they were both going to go?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Holton.
Yes.
Tell me about your plans to go to this concert, sir.
Well, I never really had any official...
Look at me.
Never really had any official plans. She brought it up, like she said, in May. It sounded kind of interesting to me, but like this was months ahead of time. I never actually told her I would be going to the concert. I didn't even know she actually had the tickets. We never said, hey, buy us the tickets and we'll pay you back.
Mr. Holton, 2 couples are going on a camping trip. Camping trip where they're going to share a tent and be away with each other for 3 days. And you want me to believe that you just weren't sure that you wanted to go with your live-in, with your significant other to this concert? Just because.
Well, I mean, honestly...
Judd, don't put your hand up. I'd like him to finish.
In all honesty, I never really wanted to go to a reggae festival. I'm not really into reggae music.
Did you tell that to your live-in?
Yeah, I don't think I really explained it to her that I wasn't going to go, but
well,
I never...
I want you to explain to me what you explained to her, sir. If you didn't explain to her that you weren't going to go,
well, I didn't...
how did you think somebody was going to read your mind that you weren't going to go?
Well, she wasn't trying to sell me a ticket. The plaintiff here is trying to sell a ticket to somebody that didn't want a ticket.
Now I'll hear you.
From the very beginning, Chris never said that he was going to take this ticket. He said it sounded like a good idea, but he said that he would never commit to the ticket. Kim and I had talked about this several times, about him wanting the ticket, and I told her several times that Chris was not going to take the ticket, and I told Kim, if she wants to talk to him about it, then go for it. Call him, because she has the phone number. I ended up going to this place by myself.
I disagree with
30,000 people there.
Just a second. You didn't go there by yourself. According to the complaint that I read and your answer, you picked up his ticket. And you went with his ticket and yours. So you took 2 tickets.
Because it's $165. I would not want to leave under somebody's doorstep to be taken.
Why?
Because that was my
friend. What did you do with it?
My intentions were to give it back to her because...
Listen to me. You took both tickets. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Both tickets.
To give her one back.
I don't care what your intention was. You took both tickets.
It's $165 underneath somebody's doorstep.
That's not the problem. The problem is you took both tickets.
It would be my fault if it was lost in the first place.
Well, what did you do with it?
I took it with me, and I never found Kim. I tried calling her several times. I was there by myself. I ended up having to sleep on the side of a road because I could not find her to go camping with her, and I couldn't find her the second day. They wanted $80 for parking. I spent over $160 getting up to this festival, and then trying to find my friend. She never even called me to notify me where she was at or where her camping grounds were, because we were supposed to camp together, and she never called me or anything.
Who's the we?
Myself, Kim, and her boyfriend.
Just the three of you?
Yes.
Did you know that it was just going to be the three of you camping together?
The day before that we left, I found out Chris wasn't going to go.
Just to say, was that the first time you found out he wasn't going to go?
It might have been a day before, but it was within 24 hours of the concert.
Tell me who told you he wasn't going.
Denise told me that he wasn't going.
And what did you say to her?
I said, well, what are we going to do with that ticket? Because, you know, it was intended for him. I hadn't tried to give it to anybody else because I was under the assumption that
he was going until he had to do paperwork on the new house. Don't talk over me.
Sorry.
So what did she say?
She told me that she was going to try to go up the next day because she had a lot of stuff going on. And I said, okay, that's fine. We would try to meet up at the concert. But what I didn't know was that there would be 20,000 people at this concert and that I wouldn't be able to find her.
How much did you lay out for those two tickets?
It was a total of $330 for both tickets.
And how much money did she give you?
She gave me $65.
Is that correct?
Yeah, no, Your Honor, that's not true. I paid her the full amount for that ticket.
No, that is not
Show
true.
me.
I paid her with cash.
She paid me $65
yeah,
and said, I'll give you the rest later, because she was paying me installments.
I paid her 2 installments.
1 installment.
I believe you, Miss Engelhardt. I believe you. I believe she gave you $65. You owe her $265. That's all. Judgment for the plaintiff. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
18-year-old daycare teacher Christina Pizzo is suing her former friend, homemaker Paula Kronk, for illegally repossessing her Crown Victoria. Paula is countersuing, claiming Christina spread rumors that she was an unfit mother.
Come to order. All rise. This is case number 107 on the calendar in the matter of Pizzo versus Kronk. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, gentlemen. Have a seat, please.
How old are you?
18 years old.
What's your first name?
Christina.
The defendant was an old family friend of yours.
Yeah, we were
and your
real
mother's?
Close. Yeah, she was my mom's best friend.
And she did a very foolish thing because she sold you a used car, which is always a bad thing to do with a friend. However, in your case, you claim that she sold you the car for $800.
Yeah.
And you gave her a down payment.
Yeah, $400.
And then made other payments to her, and you still owed her $100.
Yeah.
And she came and repossessed the car. You won all the money that you paid her.
Yeah.
Plus the insurance and the tags that you had paid out in order to get the car on the road. The defendant says that, yes, in fact, you did purchase the car, and you only gave her a couple of $100, never paid her anything else, which is why she took the car back. And she is counterclaiming because she says you're going around town calling her all kinds of names, saying she's involved with drugs, and she's counterclaiming for really defamation of character, but she only thinks her character is worth $800 because that's her counterclaim. So I have to question that. Anyway. When did you purchase this car, and what kind of car was it?
It was a 1994 Crown Victoria. I purchased it on February 14th, 2004.
Okay, so you bought yourself a Valentine's Day present.
Yeah.
And you needed this car for what, Christina?
For college. I'm going to start college in the fall, and I've been saving up all this time.
Great. Okay, how did it come about that you purchased this car?
Well, at the beginning of February, Paula, she's a real close friend. I always talk to her and stuff, and she told me she was selling a car, and she thought of me first because she knew I was looking for a car. So she told me to keep in mind, and I had my $400, and she's like, good. So February 14th, I was surprised, and she called me, and she said, you know, do you want the car? I'm selling it now. You can pay me. I know you don't have all the money. You can pay me when you get your paychecks. And so she took me to get my insurance on the car.
And how long did you have the car?
It got stolen March 29th, but I only was able to drive it till March 15th.
Why is that?
Because my temporary plates expired.
And why couldn't you get permanent plates?
Because she did not give me the title. She told me over and over again that it was in the mail. She kept saying that they sent it to her old address, and she kept saying, don't worry, it'll come.
That's a liar.
And I mean, me and my mom, we waited, and since I was so close, I trusted her.
Okay. You gave her $400 on the 14th of February.
Yes.
And when did you give her the rest of the money that you gave her?
I get paid every other week. And on February 27th, David, he was with me. We went to her house. I handed her the 100.
David? Who's David? David, what's your last name?
Bond.
Your friends?
Yeah.
Do you know the defendant as well?
Yeah.
How do you know her?
Through Christina. I've been over a couple of times to her house.
On the 27th, tell me where you went with Christina.
Well, on the 27th of February, around 7 o'clock, me and Christina and another friend, Justin, we went over to Paula's house. And Christina was going to pay her $100. And I witnessed Christina pay her $100.
Did she have cash?
Yes.
Who was this person?
That's my brother, Bobby.
I could tell that.
Oh, well. He's also a witness to her down payment.
Did you witness any other payments?
No, that was it.
No. Have a seat. Bobby?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about this down payment that you witnessed.
Well, it was February 14th when she first purchased the car. And
How do you know that? Because she told you it was February.
Well, I was over there, actually, because my friend dropped me off because we had a school project we had to do. Then I had to wait there for a little bit because she had to go get her insurance because they went to go get insurance.
The two of them?
Yeah. Then when they came back, I saw Christina's car. We were excited. I had pictures taken with her, me, in her car and everything. And after that, that's when they got down to business. And that's when Christina handed her money, and she straight out counted out $400 right there. And I witnessed the whole thing.
Good. Thank you. Have a seat. Okay, so now we have on the 14th, $400, according to you, and on the 27th, another $100. That's $500.
Yes. On March 3rd, we made a bill of sale because that's the only way you can get temporary tags, and we got temporary tags.
Did you have the bill of sale with you?
It was in the car, and when she stole it, she didn't give me nothing back, and I had all my information in the glove compartment box.
Okay, so on the 3rd?
Yeah, I have
the third
thing
bill of sale
to prove my temporary tags, if you want to see that.
Sure, I'd like to see. On the 3rd, did you give her any more money other than bill of sale?
March 12th.
So the next time you gave her money was March 12th?
Yes, and I gave her another 100.
Where were you when you gave her the other 100?
Olderman's Market is by her house, and that's where I cash my check when I get paid. And she told me she'd meet me up there, and me and my sister were up there, and she got the money and she left.
Okay, any other money that you paid to her?
Yeah, on March 26th, she came over to my house, and I was kind of, wary. I was like, well, the title hasn't came yet. And she kept assuring me, she was like, I wouldn't do nothing to you, come on. I know she needed the money, so I gave her the 100. At that time, March 26th, I couldn't drive the car because my temporary tags had expired, and it was outside of my house.
And she hadn't given you the title yet?
No, she hadn't.
Did you ever get the title,
No.
by the way? Okay, when was the car taken?
It was taken March 29th.
3 days later?
Yes.
And it was taken by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll hear you.
I've been friends with Christina since she was about 5 years old. The $400 payment that she claims that they gave me was not true. She gave me $200 down on the car, okay, with the agreement that as of March 1st, the car would be paid for in full so that I could get the title out of the title loan.
What's a title loan? Explain that to me.
You go in and you give them your title, and they give you a loan for money. And I had taken a loan out in in December.
Let me see.
On the car.
Why did you take out a loan on the car in December?
Because I needed money to pay a few bills.
Had you ever done this before?
No.
What kind of bills did you have? So you
I
were
had
really
to pay an electric bill and a gas bill.
Do you work?
No, ma'am. I'm a homemaker.
How many children do you have?
I have one child that lives with me that's 8, and my daughter lives with my mother.
Well, you have an 8-year-old child that lives with you, who goes to school full-time. Why don't you work?
Because he has a lot of problems. He's bipolar disorder and conduct type 2 disorder.
Does he go to school every day?
Yes, and I donate my time to the school to be there with him.
How do you support yourself?
My son gets a disability check.
How much?
$552. And I pay my rent and my utilities with that.
How do you support yourself? So far you told me that the state supports your child. How do you support yourself?
I don't. I use the money from the state so that I can be with my son.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Christina had called me and told me that she was going to call the state on me and that this wasn't over and that she was going to do whatever she could to make my life a living because of what I did to her.
And later today,
He took the rings because he wanted to teach you a...
Lesson.
And then you...
I lost them.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christina Piesel says former friend Paula Kronk illegally repossessed her Crown Victoria. Paula claims Christina spread rumors that she was on drugs.
According to you, she gave you $200, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's all she gave you?
Yes, ma'am. I kept my plates on the car so that she could drive the car.
And she had a bill of sale that you had given her?
I had wrote her a bill of sale, correct.
Where's the bill of sale?
I don't have it, Your Honor. They did.
No, she said it was in the car.
It was not in the car, Your Honor. She had it.
I don't know if I believe that. All right, let's hear your counterclaim.
Basically, I'm counterclaiming because after I took the car, they had called my mother, my friends, my family, claiming that I was on drugs and that I was stealing from them.
That's all hearsay. You have a witness to that?
No, ma'am, I don't. I have papers from the state because they had threatened to call the state on me, and the state came in and they called my son's school.
Just a second, listen to me. Do you have any witnesses
No, ma'am, they had
to
to
this
work.
defamation?
They had to work.
Okay, well, then you don't have a case. You
Okay.
have no witnesses, because certainly you weren't on the other end of the phone, right?
I was on the other end for a lot of the phone calls.
Really?
Yes.
Well, tell me what you heard.
Christina had called me and told me...
Called you?
Yes. And told me that she was going to call the state on me and that this wasn't over and that she was going to do whatever she could to make my life a living because of what I did to her.
Let's go here, Miss Cron.
Yes, ma'am.
You sold her the car in mid-February.
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew her and you knew her family.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went there, she had $200, according to you, to give you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew that she worked.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was going to be the source of income for her to get the car to you.
Exactly.
Did she pay rent where she lived?
No, I don't have any bills.
And
She didn't
actually,
have- Shh. Do you know how much she was earning?
No.
Did you know how long it took her to save up that $200?
Her mom is the one that gave me the $200, not her. Her mother is the one that gave me the I drove her mother to the bank, and her mother withdrew the $200 out of the savings account and gave me the $200.
Whose savings account?
It was Christina and her mother's.
Okay. So her mother took the $200 out of Christina's savings account
Yes,
because
ma'am.
clearly it was Christina's money.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you ask her mother whether or not the savings account had more money in it so that
Yes,
you could
I did.
so that you could get more money?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to get more money out of the account?
They didn't
no,
give me-
because they didn't have more money in the account at the time.
Exactly.
Correct? You explained to me how you expected her to come up with 3 times that amount of money in 2 weeks.
Her mother reassured me that they would help.
No.
Yes, she did.
No. That's hearsay, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. So I have to make a judgment. My judgment is very simple. I have to decide whether a person would give her a car, do all kinds of things, including taking up for the insurance, giving her the tags, if all she gave you was $200. And I find that you were close enough to her and close enough to her mother to know what she was doing and to know that in 2 weeks you couldn't raise $600, that the plaintiff's explanation is totally more feasible than yours, which is she gave you half what she had, which was $400, so you gave her possession of the car with the understanding that every other week she would give you another $100, which she did up until the end of March. So I believe she paid you a total of $700 for the car. You owe her $700. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700, and I do not believe this slander baloney, and your name, if it were true, should certainly be worth more than $800 to you. Counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I mean, she lives down the street, a couple streets over. So I run into her all the time, and it's sad.
She was lying, and just because she brought her best friends with her, they're lying too. They never seen her give me any money. She didn't give me any money.
That's a lot. I work a steady job. I don't have no bills. I'm 18, so I had the money. I have plenty of money to give.
I don't talk to her no more.
You can't trust anybody. And I loved her like my own mother, and she burned me and took my car.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of McLaurin versus Hoffman. Step forward, please.
27-year-old student Kelly McLaurin is suing her ex-fiancé, 22-year-old product representative Armin Hoffman, for wrecking her car and losing 2 of her rings. Armin says he financially supported Kelly throughout their relationship.
Miss McLaurin, you were engaged to Mr. Hoffman.
Was.
Does your claim that he took 2 rings, one the engagement ring that he had given to you, and the other an engagement ring that someone else had given to you, he took them for whatever reason, and he lost them. You want to be reimbursed for those rings. And in addition, after you broke up, but you have a child together?
Yes.
He used your car to drive your daughter someplace, and he had an accident in the car. You want him to pay to have the car fixed. Mr. Hoffman says that he took the rings because he wanted to teach you a
lesson.
And the lesson was?
She kept leaving the rings laying around, and she seemed like she didn't even care that she had them.
So you wanted to teach her a lesson in responsibility. And then you?
I lost them.
Lost them.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kelly McLaurin says ex-fiancé Armin Hoffman owes for wrecking her car and for losing 2 of her rings.
Does it sound foolish what you did?
No, I think my reason had merit.
Your reason had merit, but the bottom line was you lost the rings.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not how many battles you won and lost. Did you win or lose the war? You lost the war. The only problem with the rings are, Miss McLaurin, is the engagement ring you had to return to him anyway.
Actually, when we broke up the second time, I gave him the ring back, and he said he did not want it and to keep it. And
he didn't mean it. The engagement ring that he gave you, you had to give back to him. Now tell me about this other ring that he took and lost.
It was an engagement ring from a former relationship.
Well, what did it look like, and how much is it worth?
I picked it out back in '95, and we purchased it for $1,500.
Can I see it, please?
And that was back in '95. I do not have a receipt. He has the receipts and everything. It was a princess cut ring, 3 stones, a total of ½ carat.
And you lost it?
Yes, ma'am. When I moved out of Miss McLaurin's house, in the process of moving, I lost the rings.
So you have to pay for it?
Honestly, I don't think the ring was worth $1,500.
How do we know?
Just, it didn't seem like it was all that when I've seen it.
Well, Mr. Hoffman, the reason you told me you took the ring is because you wanted to teach her responsibility and not leaving it around. I assumed that you would not have taken the ring if the ring wasn't worth very much. What difference did it make if she left it around? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, the point was, when we were together, she'd always leave the engagement ring that I've given her. She'd always leave it around. Instead of wearing it, she'd leave it on top of the microwave or on the counter. It just never where it's supposed to be. I wanted to teach her a lesson, but I never intended.
Okay, so you taught her a very pricey lesson. You have to pay for the ring. Now let's talk about the car. You had an accident while you were driving in her car. After you had already broken up, you were driving your daughter someplace?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the accident, Mr. Hoffman.
She wanted me to get my daughter's haircut, which I said fine. We didn't want to change the car seat out, which I didn't have the car seat in my car at the time. So
you didn't have a car seat in your car.
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Yes.
So?
We decided to exchange cars. She said, just take my car, and I'll borrow yours. She went to Walmart. I went to go get my daughter's haircut. Got her haircut. On the way back to her house, 2 minutes away from her driveway, I ended up rear-ending another person.
So why aren't you responsible for the damage?
Well, I don't think I'm responsible for the damage just because for the entire time that I've known Ms. McLaurin, she hasn't worked. I took care of her. I paid the bills. Even after we broke up, I paid some of the bills for her to help her out.
That's good.
Yes, and also after we split up, I was paying child support, and if she needed anything extra, I would try to help out with it.
Well, that's nice. You have to pay child support because you have a child. Who's supposed to pay child support for your child? Me?
I'm not
Bert?
saying
He's
nothing
got his own
about,
children.
I'm not saying nothing about
So,
child
and
support.
if you gave her something extra because you had extra, that was very nice of you. You don't have to do that. You have to pay for the car because you had an accident. It was your fault. How much was the car?
I have estimates.
What's the cheapest estimate?
$1172.03.
Show it to him. Got it, Mr. Hoffman?
Yes, ma'am.
Got to pay $1,500 for the rings and $1172 to fix the car because you had the accident. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,672. Thank you.
Judge. 23-year-old warehouse worker Monique Goodwin is suing her former landlord, apartment manager Linda Kyle, for medical bills, a security deposit, and pain and suffering. Monique says, due to Linda's negligence, she almost died.
Yeah, this is case number 489 on the calendar in the matter of Goodman versus Kyle. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Goodwin, Miss Kyle was the resident manager in the apartment complex where you used to live.
Correct.
And you're suing her for thousands of dollars because you say she ignored a medical condition that you had, placing your life at risk, both yours and your daughter's.
Correct.
And you want your pain and suffering that she caused you, some medical bills. In addition, you want a security deposit of $1,000 that she hadn't returned to you.
Correct.
And Miss Kyle says she owes you absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, you lived there the last month without paying rent, and that's what your security deposit went for. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now let's get to the medical condition first because I find that quite interesting. I gather there is a gate.
Correct.
In your former complex where you lived, and that when you moved in, you were told that in order to get in and out of the gate, you needed a clicker, like a remote, and it was $25.
Yeah, but at the time, I did not own a...
Don't get ahead of me, please. Okay. I'll let you fill in the blanks. Okay. I'm sort of setting this out so that Bert doesn't get bored.
Okay.
So you opted not to get a clicker because you didn't have a car.
No, I had a remote control, but it wasn't one that I purchased from her. At the time, I did not own a car, so there was no reason for me to have a remote control to the gate. But the only reason why I got it...
Listen to me. You didn't buy a remote control from her for $25.
Correct.
When did you move in?
I moved in April.
April of what
2004.
Year? All right. And you lived there with your daughter?
My daughter and my son.
Then, in October of 2004, your daughter had a seizure.
Correct.
And paramedics came, and fire department, and everybody else, and they can get in to the complex, but because you didn't have a clicker, they couldn't get out. At least the ambulance couldn't get out. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Correct.
So you were angry because your daughter was stuck in the ambulance or whatever, and you went to her the next day, I assume, and
yes,
said what? And said what?
I was very upset. I approached Miss Linda Kyle and informed her that around 4 o'clock that morning, the paramedics came and picked up my daughter because she had a seizure. And the fire truck came and opened up the gate. After the fire truck left, then the paramedics were there. When the paramedics got ready to leave out of the gate, there was no way for them to, when they went around the apartments is only one.
Goodwin, we're not creating a novel here. This is a novella, small. The ambulance couldn't get out.
No, they couldn't.
So you went and complained the next day?
Yes, I did.
And what did Miss Kyle say to you?
She did nothing.
Your daughter suffers from seizures?
That was the first seizure that I've ever had my daughter have.
Well, after you had that first experience, you know what I would have done?
No.
I would have bought a clicker.
Okay.
You chose not to do that. And then a month later, you had an asthma attack.
Correct.
And you still didn't have a clicker.
Exactly, but that has nothing to do with the paramedics. The paramedics should be able to get out of that gate at all times. The only one that has a code is the fire truck. Once the fire truck leaves, there's nothing that the paramedics can do. The night that I had that asthma attack, there was no way for them. They saved my life. I was hospitalized for 3 days because of that. And the first time, she did nothing.
What I don't understand is why you didn't buy a clicker.
Why didn't? Because I didn't have a car. There was no need for me. After someone stole it inside the apartment.
Listen to me. There was a need because a month before your daughter had a serious incident, according to you. And had you had a clicker at that point, you would have gone out in the ambulance with your daughter, gone like this, and the gate would have gone up.
Well, at the time, when a 2-year-old is sitting there having a seizure, that remote control does not mean anything to me. That is my 2-year-old daughter. That's the only daughter that I have. That remote control.
I want to tell you something. You're not making sense to me. You're not making sense to me.
The remote control, okay, the remote control is a big thing to me, okay? It is. But when it comes to the fire truck and the paramedics, that has nothing to do with me having a remote control to the gate. That has nothing to do with it at all, period. I could have lost my life in that paramedics. That's why I'm so upset.
Listen to me, madam. What I don't understand is your daughter had a seizure in October. The paramedics had a problem getting out of your gate. Now you know that your daughter is subject to seizures. I would have said to myself, I have a 2-year-old child. I'm not going to be put in a situation where this can ever happen to me again. Here's $25. Give me a clicker. I'm going to keep it in my house in case I ever have that kind of problem again. That's the way you protect your child. Why would you blame that on somebody else?
Well, it's a lot when it comes to Miss Linda.
Now, we're not talking about Miss Linda. I'm talking about you being a responsible parent.
Yes,
you now have
I'm
a
very
child that
responsible
you
when it
know
comes
is
to my
subject to seizures, who may in the future have that kind of an emergency. And just as you would go and get the medicine for your child that the doctor gave you, you would want to ensure that if an ambulance had to be called again, you would be able to get the ambulance in and out. I mean, if you disapprove of the way this apartment complex is run, you have a choice. You can move.
Correct.
That's your choice. But to stay there after your 2-year-old has had a seizure without the ability to get her out in case of an emergency is very, very irresponsible.
Well, I thought she was going to fix the problem after I approached her with it.
What made you think that?
Because she's the manager of the apartments. And
no, what did she say to you that led you to believe that she was going to fix it?
She told me they had a code to the gate. They don't have a code to that gate because we sat out there for 30 minutes. When I had my asthma attack, they went knocking on people's door at 4 o'clock in the morning to get me out.
Just a second. Let me ask you a question. They were knocking on people's doors, the paramedics?
Correct.
What did they want when they were knocking on people's doors?
They wanted to get out of the gate.
They wanted a
remote control to get out of the gate.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you living someplace now that you like?
Yes, me and my kids are very happy.
Does it have a gate?
Yes, it does. And as a matter of fact, the people can get in and out of the gate.
Perfect. Then you're in a place where you're happy.
And later today,
the numbers came up. I won. I was amazed.
I seen it on the ground, and I picked it up, and I did cash it.
Once you found out that it was his lottery ticket, you shouldn't have kept the money.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monique Goodwin says she nearly died from an asthma attack because paramedics couldn't open the security gate to her apartment. Manager Linda Kyle says Monique never purchased a remote control.
Now, after your incident in November, at some point you were served with an eviction notice. You want to tell me why you served her with an eviction notice?
The eviction notice that Ms. Goodwin was served with had nothing to do with the gate. It was due to a nuisance matter where her and her sister was fighting all outside.
You have a complaint?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? Who witnessed this?
Actually, it was 3 or 4 apartments in the complex that called and reported that there was a big scene.
Did you have surround sound in your apartment?
No, I do not own surround sound.
Your Honor, she told me she owned surround sound.
When did she tell you that?
When I asked her to turn her music down.
What did she say?
She said that she didn't feel that she should have to get rid of her surround sound, that she had a right, as long as she paid her rent and her apartment, to play her music whenever she felt like it.
Which is a lie.
Okay, so you were served with this 3-day notice to quit on December the 1st.
No, I wasn't.
When were you served?
I was given this notice to quit on December the 3rd. I tried to give her my rent. On the 1st of December, she looked at me with a big smile on her face while me and my mom was in her office and told me that she was not going to accept my rent.
Okay. So she said, I'm not going to accept your rent on December 1st. You were given a notice to vacate the apartment. When did you, in fact, leave the apartment?
We went to court on January the 5th. I didn't leave until January the 22nd.
What was your rent?
My rent was $625.
Did you pay rent for December?
I tried. I have.
Don't tell me you tried.
No, I.
Did you pay rent for December? Did you live there in December?
Yes, I did.
Did you pay rent in January?
No, I did not, because she.
Did you live there in January?
Yes, I did. I tried to give her my rent. She did not want it.
No, she wanted you out. The only issue is whether, when you moved out, you owed any money. You lived there for 2 months. You didn't pay rent for 2 months. I'm not here to determine whether or not the underlying case of the eviction was right or wrong. That's been resolved by the housing court. I'm here because you want your security deposit back, and what I'm saying to you is you expected to live there for December and January and not have, I'm speaking, and not pay rent?
I'm gonna get mad.
Are you living someplace now that you like?
Yes, me and my kids are very happy.
Good, that's what I think should happen. I think that you and your children should find a place to live where you're very happy. Does it have a gate?
Yes, it does. And as a matter of fact, the people can get in and out of the gate.
Perfect. Then you're in a place where you're happy.
But the problem...
Listen to me. You're in a place where you're happy. All right. Now, you were given an opportunity to get a remote control for the gate. You chose not to get one. Even after your daughter had a seizure, you chose not to get one.
What does that have to do with the paramedics? I don't understand that.
Miss Goodwin, listen, there are no free rides.
Yeah, but this is the receipt that I tried to give her my rent money. But she would not take it from me.
You just paid it with your security deposit, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Me and my daughter could have lost our lives while we were in that paramedics.
Well, I think Judge Judy got a chance to see through Miss Monique.
This lady is a very good liar, and she lies all the time.
She's young. This is her first apartment.
She's just and I hate her, and I'm going to keep hating her.
She's a little hard-headed. You can't make her understand.
She's just like, ugh.
Pray for patience.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hackett versus Duval. Step forward, please.
Tree surgeon James Hackett is suing medical assistant Patricia Duval for cashing his winning lottery ticket after he lost it.
Mr. Hackett, it is your claim that the defendant cashed your winning lottery ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant says she found it. It's hers.
That's correct.
When did you purchase this lottery ticket, sir?
I purchased it on a Saturday. It was October the 2nd of last year. And on that day, I went down to the lottery agency and found they weren't open. So I put it in my wallet and decided...
Just a second. When was the drawing?
It was drawn that day.
The same day?
Yes.
Where did you watch the numbers?
It was on a TV screen in the store. The numbers came up. It was the first game. I won. I was amazed.
Had you played those numbers before, or was it a random?
Well, 3 of the numbers are birthdays. My mother's, and one of my other deceased brother's birthday. The other 3 are random numbers that come up a lot. So I played them together and happened to win.
Okay. Where did you purchase the ticket?
Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Where?
It was a convenience store in Massachusetts.
When you found out that you won on these numbers, what did you do with your winning ticket?
I brought it up to the counter, and the store manager, what he does is a general practice. In that store, they photocopy it and hang it up on a little display thing to tout the winning numbers.
So he photocopied your lottery ticket?
He did, fortunately.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Hackett is suing Patricia Duval for cashing his winning lottery ticket. Patricia says she found the ticket, so it should be hers.
What happened to the ticket, Mr. Hackett?
Well, the following Monday, I went back to work. I'm a professional tree climber.
A tree climber, what is that?
I climb trees and reduce them, take them down. I do difficult takedowns.
Okay.
And I did all the hard work in the morning, and there was one easy one. And 21 years of climbing, this one little stupid tree I'm climbing, a branch broke. I fell out of the tree 12 feet. I hit the ground. I break 8 ribs, my wrist, I puncture a lung, and the ambulance comes to get me, and I can hear a chopper coming. I can't breathe, and I have the guys flip me over on my back and take my gear off, my saddle, my hooks, my chainsaw, all the stuff, my helmet, was all my safety gear.
Is that when you claim that you lost your lottery ticket?
They cut my pants off, my wallet.
Is that what you claim?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Where exactly was this? Where did this happen?
In Berlin, Massachusetts.
Is that where you live in Berlin?
No, ma'am.
Where do you live?
Douglas, Mass.
Were you in Berlin?
Not Berlin, no.
Where did you find the lottery ticket?
Northborough, Mass, at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
How far is that from Berlin?
I couldn't tell you.
It's a town or two away, ma'am.
So it's one town away.
Yeah, I believe so.
Good. Now we come to you.
Okay.
You found the lottery ticket in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot,
Yes, I
one
did.
town away from where he lost his lottery ticket, right?
Yes.
And what did you do with it?
Well, my husband and I came out of the Dunkin' Donuts and we were going to our car, and I seen it on the ground, and I picked it up and looked at it. It also had like a confirmation with the ticket saying that apparently it was a winner. So it was late, it was about 6:37 at night.
What date?
October 7th.
Okay.
And so I picked it up, and the next day I went to the lottery agent, and sure enough, it was a winner, and it wasn't signed, so I signed it, and I did cash it.
Cash it. Okay. And how much money did you get?
$1,600.
Ma'am, I have a problem with that.
Now, Mr. Hackett, after you realized that your lottery ticket was missing, you contact the lottery office?
Yes, I boogied down there from, as soon as I got out of the hospital.
And at that point, you went down there with the numbers that you had.
Yes.
Did you go back to the store that had posted the winning lottery?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see it, please.
Ma'am, she's saying she's found...
Oh, it's a Keno.
It's a keynote.
Keno.
game. I'm not in the habit of playing it, but if I have a fistful of dollars, I'll play it once in a while.
Okay. So you went down to them, got this.
Yes, ma'am.
Got this.
Unfortunately, they had photocopied that.
Right.
3 of those numbers are birthdays that mean something to me.
Don't say
Sorry,
anything.
ma'am.
You never can tell. So far, you're doing okay.
But, ma'am, I don't know this gentleman at all.
don't
Never
know you
seen
either.
him before in
Mr.
my
Hackett,
life.
did I give you an opportunity to speak? Was she quiet when you were speaking?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't interrupt her.
I've never seen him before in my life.
You don't have to see him.
And there was no signature on it. And like any normal person, if you find something that's worth something and there's no signature, no ownership, then you're going to keep it, you know?
I am satisfied that Mr. Hackett lost his lottery ticket.
Well, yes.
And based upon this, I am satisfied that the winning lottery ticket that you found belonged to Mr. Hackett.
Ma'am, I hit it.
I'm speaking!
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's say, Miss Duval, that you're walking along the street and you find a 4-carat emerald cut diamond. Doesn't have a name, doesn't have an address, doesn't have anything. And you take it home. And you say, gee, this looks great. I'm going to size it and wear it on my finger. And you do. Then you're having your nails done a week later. And the woman at the next counter is sitting there and she says, it's a nice ring. And you say, yeah, I found it. She said, well, I lost my ring last week. Do you mind if we take it in to the jeweler? Because I have my GIA that you get when you buy a diamond, and it maps all the little dots in a diamond so it can identify, you know, one diamond from another. You go with her to the gemologist, and he said, that diamond belongs to that report.
Yes, and I would agree. Yes, I would agree.
That's her diamond.
Yes.
Even though you found it.
Just a second. Yes.
Even though you found it.
Yep.
He lost his lottery ticket. His problem is not with you finding it and cashing it. His problem is once you found out that it was his lottery ticket, you shouldn't have kept the money.
I just found out when I got notified.
Oh, there we go. So we have no problem. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. Thank you.
Bodies are excused.
Flight attendant Darlene Rao is suing her neighbor, postal worker Raul Cruz, for damaging her fence and pool by throwing rocks. Raul says he was merely returning the rock she dumped on his property.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 395 on the calendar in the matter of Rao versus Cruz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Rao, you and the defendant are next-door neighbors.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have adjoining backyards.
Yes.
Adjoining yards. And it is your claim that Mr. Cruz threw some junk into your backyard, and in doing so damaged some of your property. You want him to pay for that property. Mr. Cruz seems to indicate that while he did place some things in your yard...
Yes, ma'am.
He was merely returning the stuff that you had put in his yard.
Correct, Your Honor.
So it sounds to me like you people need something else to do. When did the trouble start, Miss Rao, with Mr. Cruz?
When I saw that the land was eroding, I put rocks there to hold up the land, and Mr. Cruz came out and abruptly said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, I said, "We got a problem here. The land is going down the hill."
I don't understand. Do you have a photograph to show me what you
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
That's the photographs of the damage and the
Well, I don't
land.
want to see the damage. I'll take them all. Let me see if I can find what you're talking about. Okay. I'm looking at this picture. Is this the area where you were placing rocks?
Yes.
Okay. On whose property is this?
Mr. Cruz.
So you were placing rocks on Mr. Cruz's property?
There's some of it is my property. I was placing it real close to the fence.
Well, you can't place rocks on his property, Miss Rao.
I was placing it on my property.
No, you also said you were placing it on his property. You cannot place rocks on his property. You cannot put anything on his property.
Right. I got his permission. When he came out and abruptly said, "What are you doing?" I told him, and he said, "Fine."
Just a second.
Okay.
Before you do it.
That's not true.
Okay. If that was true, that was very nice of him. But before you step on somebody else's property to make any alterations, you call them and you ask for permission. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, I'll start with you, Mr. Cruz. Why don't you tell me what happened?
November 2nd, we got up, and I looked out my kitchen window, and I actually could see up the slope to her house, and I saw some garbage, branches, tennis shoe. I see PVC pipe. I see a bucket. Those black ones when the plants come in. I told my wife I'll be right back. I went to her house, knocked on her door to see if she was there. I've cleaned it 3 times
now,
already.
That's on your property?
Yes, ma'am. It's on my property.
Is this a back part of your property?
Yes, it's a back with a big slope, like maybe 70 feet long.
And on the other side of the property is?
Her fence and the pool.
Okay. So, just a second. So you went over to her house on the 2nd?
Correct.
And nobody answered?
Nobody answered the door, so I went home. I went up the slope. I picked up the black bucket, a couple of root plants, and a couple rocks, and I tossed it over the fence. And that dirt right there that you see was covered all with ice plant. There was no exposure of the PVC pipe. I have a picture, ma'am.
Let me see it, please.
I have a couple pictures. Plus, I also found a rock in my pool. And it's not rock, it's actually cement. You can look through those. And there's also a picture of a ladder that she uses to climb over my fence. Because she's been in my property. I've seen her 3 times. The last time I saw her, she was just sitting there pulling some ice plants, and I said to my wife, let's just ignore her.
Why were you pulling these ice plants?
I got his permission. I asked him if he would please trim his ice plant because it was going under my fence and getting wrapped up in my vines. And he said he wouldn't. I said, do you mind if I do it? He said it was fine. So I hired a guy to trim his ice plant, and I told him at that time I was going to put rocks there to keep the land from going down the hill, and I was going to put plants there, plants with good roots to hold the soil. I was trying to better the property. I would never, ever, I was afraid of him. I'm still afraid of him. I would never put garbage on his place.
Miss Rao, listen to me. Somebody in your house was using part of his property to dump stuff.
No, Your Honor, no.
Well, I mean, otherwise what you're saying to me...
I don't know where the tennis shoe came from. I don't know, I have no idea where a tennis shoe came from. It was a huge man's tennis shoe. I live in my house by myself. I'm trying to clean up the area.
Okay. Now, I would like you to tell me what kind of damage you allege was done as a result of his throwing this debris over, and I want to see your police report, please.
He did not give a police report.
Well, if you don't have a police report, don't give me anything else.
What is this notice that he came out? I don't know why they didn't do a police report.
I don't know why.
He told Ron why he didn't do a police report.
Who are you?
My name's Ron Filipponi, Your Honor. I'm Mrs. Darlene's fiancé.
Okay.
And I picked up the police report, and the Sheriff's Department did not do a police report on an incident because there was no threats made, and there was no physical
Well, that's not
damage.
true, because I have a police report here indicating that the alleged violation that Mr. Cruz was complaining of was trespassing, dumping onto property, and repeating violations.
Your Honor, anything I did was try to improve the property. I would never, first of all, I'm afraid of Mr. Cruz.
Ms. Rao, you cannot elect to improve somebody else's property.
It was to take care of my property. It's sliding down the hill.
You cannot elect to improve someone else's property.
I'm trying to prevent my land from going down. I was just going to put rock there to save the land.
I'm going to say it to you one more time. You can't do that. It's not your property.
Part of it is.
Part of it may be. The rest of it is his. You can't go on his property and put rocks on his property. You can't do that.
I put the rocks on the property because I didn't want to step on that pipe. I was trying to protect from stepping on the pipe. And then I could stand on a rock and move the, rather than standing on the soil and sliding down.
You can't do that.
And when I was doing that, I waved, he was in the window in the kitchen, and I waved to him, and he waved back.
On my property. She's on my property waving at me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I've tried to explain to this lady who doesn't seem to get it. Maybe you get it. Do you get it?
I get it, Your Honor.
Maybe later, in a quiet moment, you give her a glass of red wine. Maybe you can explain it to her.
And later today,
we need one of those great fly swatters, because there's a sucker here that's looking to meet its ancient relatives. You or me?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Darlene Rao says neighbor Raul Cruz damaged her fence with rocks. Raul says it's Darlene who's dumping rocks on his property.
Now, I want you to show me what the damage was to your, whatever you say was damaged as a result of his throwing this stuff all the way down here.
Okay, you have the pictures of what's damaged.
No, I see a lot of schmutz, but I don't see much damage.
Well, this is part of the vase statue of the angel that he broke. This is what came off the chair that I passed it down from my mom to me. And there's a big bench there. You can see the damage to the big bench there.
You have a picture of the bench before?
Yes, I have a picture of the bench right here before.
Can I see it?
This is before, and this is after I did the work. This is where all his plants were coming up.
No, I just want to see the picture of the bench.
And the bench is here, and the bench is here. There's all these pictures of the bench.
I also have a picture of her property, and she has like maybe 1.5 feet of white rock. If she wants to do something to prevent it from going down, she could build a retaining wall on that white rock she has.
Listen to me. You can't throw the rocks on her property because you got in a snit.
I was just returning it.
I heard you, Mr. Cruz. I mean, I've tried to explain to this lady who doesn't seem to get it. Maybe you get it. Do you get it?
I get it, Your Honor.
Good. I'm glad you get it. Maybe later, you know, in a quiet moment, you give her a glass of red wine. Maybe you can explain it to her that she cannot go on somebody else's property.
That's sound advice.
It's sound advice,
yes,
right? So you have to stay on your own land. In the meantime, I don't see a picture of this bench that you allege he damaged before.
Can I come up there and show it to you, please?
Sure. Show me a picture. Listen to me. I see this picture. I see this picture of the bench here.
Right.
Damaged. And all I want you to show...
Here's the bench, right here.
I see the bench. I want you to show me a picture of the bench before you say this happened.
There's little snapshots here.
Well, show me.
Sorry, it's far away, but that's the bench.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Pay attention. I can't see anything from this picture. Could you see anything from this picture? The answer is yes or no.
Yes,
Can you see what the bench looked like in this picture?
Yes.
Well, I can't. I can't. Step
I can
back.
see it.
Mr. Cruz, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Sir,
I need it.
You still have a chance. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Good. You can't throw property like you did. And she may be irritating and she may cause you all kinds of problems, but you still cannot resort to that kind of self-help. Listen, Miss Rao, bottom line is you can't put your foot on somebody else's property.
I got permission from him, too, and I swear to God, it's the truth. I will, but I got permission from him.
Mr. Cruz, you have $1 in your pocket?
Yes, I do.
Take it out. Bird, take the $1. Give it to Miss Rao. That's your judgment for the damage that he did, Miss Rao. You don't seem to get it. I want you to get it. That's all.
Parties aren't huge. You may step out.
He gave me permission to put the rocks there, and I swear to God, that's the honest-to-God truth.
I think she's a good person, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we have differences, but let's just get along with neighbors.
He's a con man, and for some reason, I'm a victim.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kangas versus Kangas, step forward, please.
Licensed investigator Paul Kangas is suing his son, 21-year-old movie theater clerk Shane Kangas, for unauthorized credit card charges and for money owed on a computer. Shane says he worked off the debt by working in the family business.
Mr. Kangas, this young man is your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
How old is he?
21.
What do you do?
I work at a movie theater.
What do you do there?
I serve people popcorn, clean up at the night.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Computer technician.
Okay. Mr. Kangas, you say that your son came to live with you, and you also purchased a computer for him, and I understand that the agreement was it was going to be paid for in sort of barter. He was going to put in a certain number of hours working for your business, which is private investigating business.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that would pay off the computer.
Yes.
And you also gave him a credit card.
I did.
And told him to use it, but use it wisely.
It's to help him in the business, so when I sent him out to do something, like go to the lab to develop film, that he'd have a way of paying for the film, picking up the film.
And what about personal stuff if he needed something?
Personal stuff, he had to check with me before he spent beyond $20. I have the same arrangement with my daughter, and she honors it strictly with her credit card.
That's what makes horse racing, sir. Children
Yes.
are different.
That's for sure.
Okay. After several months, he decided he didn't like it anymore, so he decided to sit in his room, play his guitar, whatever. You got annoyed. He left. You want him to pay for the computer and for the credit card bills that he racked up while he was still using the credit card. That's what your lawsuit's about.
Somewhat. It's the reason for buying the computer for him was to motivate him. So I made this deal with him. Look, you know, you pick out any computer you want, and the deal is you'll pay for it out of the amount of time you put in. I'm only asking you to work 4 hours a day. We lived across the street from the courts, so it was easy for him.
Well, how long did he work for you after you bought him the computer?
Several months. He was doing quite well. He was really motivated.
Well, how much did he work off of the computer?
About $1,000 of it.
That's a pretty nebulous contract that you have with him, Mr. Kangas.
Well, he didn't last that long because he got so into the computer. I mean, he'd be up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning on the computer, and I'm trying to sleep. I was trying to motivate him. I was trying to control him. I was trying to exert some parental influence on him.
All sounds terrific. Remember, the father knows best?
Yes, I do.
It's not like that anymore.
Well, it's...
You know, families don't sit around in shirts and ties having dinner together anymore. Everything that you did with your son sounds as if you had the right motivation. He was going to work, and he was going to pay off his computer, and he was going to be responsible with the credit card.
That's right.
Right.
But then we got into a dispute over the computer, and then he moved out and started spending the credit card like it was his credit card, and it was free money, and he just started sending me these bills for huge amounts of money.
Well, what I would like to see is the bills after he moved out. And then, Bert, you know what we're going to do? We need one of those great fly swatters that we used to have, because there's a sucker here that's looking to meet its ancient relatives.
I think I got just what you need.
You or me?
Oh. Took a nice little nosedive right into your cup. No, they didn't. No.
See what happens when I get annoyed?
Yes,
Okay. What date did you move out, young man?
It was 14 months ago.
Well, give me a month.
June or July.
June or July. So let me see the bills after June or July. Let's do July.
Well, the deal was no crazy expenses. And
Mr. Kangas, listen to me very carefully, sir. I raised a lot of teenagers, and they are so creative with a credit card.
Yeah.
I didn't know for a very long time that when I gave a kid a gas credit card, that they could go in and get enough food for their entire dormitory in one of those gas places. I didn't know that. And I said, how could they use so much gas? The campus isn't that big. Where are you using all that gas? And then I realized that you can buy milk and juice and newspapers and cookies and snacks and eggs. And you can not only buy, listen, and you can not only buy it for yourself, but you can buy it for all your friends, because if you buy it for all your friends, they give you the cash.
Right.
Do you understand? Listen, Mr. Kangas, I know that that happens. I didn't sue my children. So what I want to see is, after he left, because it was clear to me that when you left, you should have left the credit card.
He did. I took it away from him.
And how did he use it?
I don't know how he got another one.
How did you use it, sir? Shh. Is not an answer.
I had the number on my computer still, so I could still make online purchases.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kangas, what's your first name?
Shane.
Shane. So let me explain this to you. The computer, sir, is yours because your father made a too soft a deal for me to have to figure out how many hours you worked and whether or not you paid for the computer with the work that you did for him. That's his problem. But you're a big boy. So you knew that when you moved out of the house and your father took the credit card from you, you were not supposed to use it, right?
Is
not an answer.
Sorry.
If he took the credit card from you, he said to you, what did he say? Give me the credit card, and if you need it, go look on your computer and get the number? Give me the fly swatter. Let me explain something to you. He's a computer hacker.
That's right.
And he's going to go into your bills, and if he has your social security number, he'll steal your identity, and all of a sudden you'll find that you bought 9 surfboards.
Then he took the credit card out of my ex-wife's purse and went back to spending it again.
Well, it doesn't say much for you, sir, that you raised a thief.
No, I feel it's the unexpected legacy of divorce.
That is a crock. That's not the legacy of divorce. I've been divorced, and I had children, and none of them are thieves. 5 of them. Nobody would go into my pocketbook and steal my credit card. So that's ridiculous.
Well, he's depressed, and I feel that...
He's depressed?
Yeah, he's got a
He's
lack
depressed.
of
He's a
motivation.
thief. That's not being depressed. Look at him. Does he look depressed to you? He doesn't look depressed to me.
He's got a lack of
little
motivation.
high, maybe, but not depressed. Right, Shane?
No.
Really?
Really?
Really? I see $849 on the credit card after July.
Unfortunately, I put all of the receipts in a special envelope, put it in a special place, and then I couldn't find it, so that by the time I got here, that's what I had. I understand. I should have had better control of my file.
No, you should have better control of your son.
That
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $849. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Christine Daly is suing the father of her child, Henry Geib, for rent, truck payments, and damage to their apartment. Christine claims Henry has an anger problem.
Come to order, all rise. That's case number 150 on the calendar in the matter of Daly versus Geib. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Daly, you and the defendant lived together for a period of time, and you have a child together. It is your claim that while you were living together, you covered the expenses for both of you while Mr. Geib was not working or not contributing to the household. You want him to cover those expenses.
Yes.
And in addition, you say that because of his bad temper, he punched holes in the walls of the apartment, so that you're going to be charged for that. Now, Mr. Geib says that there was never a loan. You 2 people lived together. You covered expenses when he wasn't working. And as far as the holes in the walls, Mr. Geib acknowledges that he made them.
Yes.
He says that he has an anger problem and that you know how to push his buttons, so he hit the wall instead of hitting you. For that, he should be praised. Right? When did you move in together, Mr. Geib?
I believe it was December of last year.
2005?
Yes.
2004, December 2004.
And you lived together until when?
Till April of this year.
And when did Mr. Geib lose his job or become unemployed?
Well, several months after he moved in early 2005,
Did he move into your apartment?
Actually, yes. I was renting a house at the time.
Who were you living there with before he moved in with you?
Myself.
Just yourself?
Yes.
And the lease was in your name?
Yes.
What was your financial arrangement with him?
Well, of course, you know, he's an able-bodied person, and we were going to split the rent.
Is that what you discussed?
Yes.
Did he pay half in December 2004?
Yes.
January 2005?
Yes.
February 2005?
Yes.
March 2005?
Yes.
April 2005?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
July?
No.
Okay. July 2005, he stopped paying his half.
Right.
Because he lost his?
He quit his job.
Why did you quit your job, Mr. Gaib?
Well, I didn't quit my job. I kind of, what happened was one guy got blamed of stealing some equipment, and they said it was me. And I told them, no, it wasn't me. So they didn't believe me, so they fired me anyway.
Did you collect unemployment?
No, I didn't.
Well, how'd you support yourself?
Just doing like side jobs. I do construction on the side, just for cash money.
What do you mean for cash money? What does that
mean? Like, under kind of, not taxed or anything like that, so.
Well, but what did you do with the money when you worked? Did you give it to Miss
her.
Daly?
I gave it to her, yeah.
And that was in July?
Yeah. I gave her all my money, everything.
Well, good. And what about in August? Did he pay you in August?
Yes.
September?
Yes.
October?
Mm-hmm.
November?
Mm-hmm.
December?
No.
Did he pay you in January of
No.
06? February of 06?
No.
Why don't you throw him out?
Well, because he was the father of my son, and the thing is that he was needing help. I thought I'd help him out because he had a lot of issues. You
He
know,
certainly has issues.
psychological issues or something, and I thought if I helped him, he'd turn things around and we could be a family together.
Well, he didn't.
Well, he kept promising me that he'd turn things around and he'd take these courses, and so I kept...
You mean anger courses?
Not just anger courses, other courses, couples therapy, we tried that. We also went to a couple of different mental hospitals to get him some pills to make his anger
You
more
working now,
controlled.
Mr. Gaib?
I'm in between jobs.
How are you supporting yourself?
I'm helping a lady finish her house construction.
Where are you living?
Linwood.
With whom?
Her and her son.
With a lady?
Yeah.
Mr. Gaib, I want you to tell me, sir, about the holes that you punched in the walls of Miss Daly's house.
Basically, every day I'd come home from work or wherever, Christina, she would just follow me with all these complaints, you know, and we'd have our sit-down time for a couple minutes, you know, but then she would just follow me, complaining about everything, you know, and I just, okay, I told her I would try to help, I'd try to fix it. Then, I don't know, I just started losing my temper after a while, and then I would try to go to another room, she would follow me there, and it got to a point where I just kind of lost my temper a few times.
Do you have an estimate for the damage to the house?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it, please?
Do you want to see photos or just estimates?
Sure.
Okay, here's the photos.
Did you knock down a couple of doors, sir?
No.
What were the doors?
The person that gave me an estimate said the holes are pretty big and it'd be better if he replaced the doors instead of patch them up because he said it wouldn't look right. They're huge holes. They're like about this big.
You mean in the doors?
Yeah.
Did you break a mirror in the closet?
No, she said I did. She's lying. No, I didn't.
When did he break the mirror in the closet?
He got mad and he took it by his hands and went like this and shook it and it cracked it into the...
All right.
How many times?
Mr. Gaib, first of all, I agree with your defense, sir, that you don't owe her any money for expenses when you were living there. If she chose to allow you to continue to remain in the house while you were unemployed and she thought that you would get your life together, she did so because you were a couple and she thought that you were building a life together. That's not something that creates a lawsuit. However, you are responsible for the damage that you did to the apartment when you were in these rages because you don't get a medal for hitting the walls instead of hitting her. You understand that?
Yes.
And you think that that's reasonable, right?
Somewhat.
Well, I think it's reasonable. But there's a larger issue, Mr. Gaib. Are you currently in therapy?
No, I'm not.
You understand that you probably need therapy.
Yes.
Is there any reason why you are not in treatment? Is it because you can't afford it?
No, it's free. I just, I missed my last appointment and I never rescheduled.
Were you at any time on medication?
Yes.
When did you go off your medication?
When I ran out.
When did you run?
About a month ago.
A month ago?
He quit taking them.
Shh. How long had you been on the same medication, Mr. Gaib?
About 4 months.
You were working with a therapist?
Yes.
Was the medication helping you?
Yes.
Do you remember what kind it was?
Prozac.
When you ran out, why didn't you go back to the therapist, Mr. Gaib?
I don't know. I don't know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You need to see a therapist and get back on that medication. You have to do it, Mr. Dougie. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair for the children that you brought into the world. Please?
And later today...
Where is he?
I don't know. He's hanging out somewhere around.
Well, what'd you bring him for?
Going to L.A. with the guy that's going to hang out.
There are days I like this job better than others.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christine Daly claims the father of her child, Henry Geib, owes for household bills and repair costs resulting from his anger problem.
Okay. How old are you?
37.
You have any family here?
My dad and aunt and uncle.
Do you have a relationship with your father?
Not really.
Aunt and uncle?
No.
I'm telling you, someone who's, been around the block a little bit. You need to see a therapist and get back on that medication. Made you feel better? You have one child?
Two.
Two. You owe them the ability to interact with them peacefully. You have to feel comfortable yourself. You have to feel as if you have a certain center in your life so that you can work, not have fights with people at your jobs. And if that means that you have to be in therapy where it's free and you can get this medication, which is also available to you, you have to do it, Ms. Dougie. It's not fair to you. And it's not fair for the children that you brought into the world. Please? In the meantime, you have to pay for the holes in the wall, $745. That's all. Thank you.
There's a truck payment involved. He hasn't paid for his truck. I co-signed for his truck. I paid over $2,000 in truck payments.
That may be. And what you have to do is you have to have the truck repossessed.
He won't give it back to me. I tried twice.
You have a bank loan?
Yes, but that'll ruin my credit. They said that if it was voluntary repossession, it would ruin my credit.
That may be. I can't help you with that because in order to cover the shortfall in the payments, you have to have the truck repossessed and sell it.
But that'll ruin my credit, though.
Well, I can't help that, madam. Then you have to think about that before you co-sign for a truck for him. You're a grown-up girl.
I know, but he wrote me a promissory note, which he stole back from me, saying that I wouldn't have to make any payments.
What you have to do is notify the lending company to repossess the truck because you will no longer be making payments. And I would do that as quickly as possible before the debt becomes greater, because the quicker they repossess the truck and the quicker they sell it, the less money you will owe.
So I'm being stiffed for rent and truck payments and everything else?
No, you're not being stiffed for the rent.
I am, because no one's paying for this.
He's paying for the damage that he did.
That's nothing compared to what I paid for rent and the truck payments.
Are you living in the same house?
Not anymore.
You're not living in the house anymore?
What happened was we moved out together at a second residence. He moved in December. We moved into the new place in July. He got under the lease with me in the new apartment, and that's when he started to not work, and he didn't pay me.
Yeah, she changed the locks on Easter on me, too.
Well, he
illegally.
was a domestic violence.
He
hit me, and I called the police out, and they had to come and get him, and he ran away. And the social services stepped in and said that if I let him back in the house, how am I supposed to protect my son from him?
You're absolutely right.
I had to let him know that he couldn't come back.
Right.
But you know what it is? When you trust someone and you love someone and he promises to pay you, I mean, isn't that what a relationship's all about, where you're supposed to hopefully believe that the person's going to come through every time they promise you something?
If you let him go and let him go and let him go and he doesn't pay, and you let it go and you let it go because you're hoping things are going to turn around, there comes a point where he doesn't believe and has no sense of his responsibility. And what you did was, according to your complaint, you said to him, we'll straighten out when you get your act together. He's never going to get his act together unless he gets back on therapy and back on his medication. Do you understand? It's not going to happen. So unfortunately, your credit may be ruined, but you have to notify the lending company to repossess the truck. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $745. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Which way do we go?
He owes me money. He's not paying child support. I don't see why he should be able to come see his son.
She can't say that. That's my son, you know?
He punched holes in the walls, and watching someone do that on a daily basis, you don't think that's abuse?
She's trying to change me. She's trying to mold me.
It's not like I'm telling him he needs a change. He was needing help because he had problems, issues, of course.
She's psycho.
He's done enough damage to last quite a long time.
We'd start arguing. I would try to walk away into a different room, but she would follow me right behind me, just like a little bird or something.
He's ruining my life as we speak.
Is she gonna put a hit on me or what? I mean, I don't know.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Doherty versus Candell. Step forward, please.
20-year-old Jennifer Doherty is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Michael Candell, for money owed on a credit card. Jennifer claims she used her credit to help Michael pay off his debt.
He used to be your boyfriend. According to my complaint, you tell me that you consolidated all of his high-interest credit cards on a new credit card that was a low interest rate, unfortunately, in your name. Then you broke up?
Yes, we did, Your Honor.
And according to you, he didn't pay you?
Yes, he paid me $300 of the balance.
Mr. Candell says that he... Candell?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
Says that he paid you back everything that you agreed on. How long was he your boyfriend?
3 years.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a nursing assistant at a Frankfurt Torso hospital, and I'm a cake decorator at a local bakery, and I babysit part-time. And I'm going into my senior year of nursing school.
And what about you, sir?
I bartend, and I work at a hospital doing transportation.
Who do you live with?
I live with my mom and my 2 brothers.
So you don't have big expenses?
No, I give my mom money each month to help.
How much?
Usually $250 a month. Plus, I pay for a car.
Whose car?
Well, it's in my mom's name, but I pay for it.
Because you drive it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Now tell me why you got yourself in the hole with these credit cards, sir.
Well, I wasn't really in the hole. I was able to afford them each month. We were going on a trip. Well, my friend was getting married in Jamaica. She wanted to go out. I told her I didn't have the money. I was waiting for my income tax check to come in to help pay off the bills. And she's like, well, I want to go. I'll pay for it, like, as a present. So I was like, all right, that's fine.
Just a minute. This is your friend who's getting married in Jamaica?
Yeah, well, we're both our friends.
Your friend or hers?
My friend, but she's friends with him through me.
When was the last time you saw this friend?
Yesterday.
When was the last time you saw this friend?
This morning, because he's here.
Really? He's here for what?
I guess support for him.
Where is he?
Somewhere around, I don't know. He's hanging out somewhere around.
Well, what'd you bring him for?
Just we're going to L.A. It was like, all right, let's go hang out.
There are days I like this job better than others. Okay, so it's your friend, and you saw him this morning?
Yes.
Here?
Yes.
You didn't see him yesterday?
No.
No. You brought him out here, so I assume he remains your friend. You got custody of him after the breakup. And you were expecting an income tax check.
Yeah. Yes.
But she said, I'll give you this trip to Jamaica as a present.
Yeah. Yes.
And how much were you getting back?
$1,100 and some odd dollars.
What did you do with the income tax refund?
It went right into her bank account.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, great. How much was put all on this one credit card of hers that had low interest?
I think it was like $1,800 and some dollars.
How much was it?
It was $2,336.78.
Show him.
Yeah, I don't wear Victoria's Secret, though.
No, that's mine. That's why it's not highlighted.
Just the highlighted items, sir. Read just the highlighted items.
Now?
To yourself.
Okay.
Now, do any of those highlighted items look as if they're not your charges?
Well, the one thing is the Sprint Wireless. I gave her money back. I paid her that aside, like we were agreed on $100 a month, and I gave her that back.
So you want me to deduct the Sprint Wireless from that? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
And how much is the Sprint Wireless?
$214.61.
Okay. Anything else there that doesn't look right?
No.
All looks right then. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Candell, I just have a question. Does your hair do that naturally, or do you have to work on it in the morning?
Oh, it's hard.
Hard. Okay. Now, how much did you pay her back?
Well, the $1,100 from my income tax. And
did she give you back $1,100 for his income?
No, we did not. I went towards to pay off the trip. I did not take him for a present to his friend's wedding.
No, I don't believe that you did. There's no question in my mind that you did not take him as a present to his friend's wedding.
Exactly.
Okay. How much was the trip to Jamaica?
$1,640 apiece.
$1,640. And how much did he pay you back for that?
He gave me $1,100 towards it, and then he paid the rest himself.
He did pay the rest
Yes,
himself?
he did.
Okay, so we're just talking now about the credit card.
Yes, we are.
What?
I didn't pay the other $500.
Yes, you did.
Shh. What other $500?
The $1,100 I gave her out of the income tax check, she paid the other $500. I never paid that.
Yes, you did. You gave me money.
Don't answer him.
Okay.
Well, you don't want me to make an order for more money, do you?
I mean, it was she told me, she's like, I'll take you out here, you know.
Listen to me. I don't believe she took you as a present to your friend's wedding.
Okay.
I want you to understand that. We're moving on from that. Now, she's only dealing with the credit card bills that you looked at, which total, according to you, deducting the Sprint, $21.22. Did you pay her any money from that?
Yes.
How much?
I was giving her $100 each month.
For how long?
3 months. I gave her $300 so far.
Well, if the trip to Jamaica was $1,640 and you gave her $1,100 and you gave her an additional $300, that's $1,400. You still owe her a couple $100 for Jamaica, plus the $21.22.
But the Jamaica thing was a trip. The thing is, with that...
I just told you.
I understand your understanding, but the thing is, once we broke up, she started sleeping with one of my friends, and
No, it has nothing to do with that.
She basically, we had a break up, and she...
Listen, my microphone went over here where it shouldn't be. Mr. Candel, I don't care whether she slept with the King of Siam. I'm talking about $21.22 in credit card bills, sir.
I thought it was $20.36.
$21.22. I've given you credit for the Sprint bill.
Oh, okay, cool.
$21.22. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused when they step out.
26-year-old Rebecca Baca is suing her ex-boyfriend, 28-year-old Micah Strickland, for unpaid rent and for stealing back a car he sold her.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 235 on the calendar in the matter of Baca versus Strickland. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Baca, Mr. Strickland, some time ago, was your boyfriend.
Yes.
There was a falling out. You were no longer together. Recently, he contacted you because he had had a falling out maybe with his other girlfriend and he needed a place to stay. And foolishly, you said, sure, you can stay with me for a while until you get relocated. He did. And you claimed that he agreed to pay you rent, $350 a month. In addition, you claimed that he agreed to sell you a used car that he had. You paid him for the car, and one day you came home and you find the car that you had paid for is gone, along with Mr. Strickland and his month's rent. Mr. Strickland says, A, you must be crazy because he never sold you his car, and B, he never said that he was going to pay you rent. He didn't even have a room. He stayed on the sofa. Mr. Strickland, when did you move into Miss Baca's apartment?
It might have been July, middle of July.
July 14th.
And how did that come about, sir?
I called her and asked her if I'd come stay there, and she agreed.
Did she ask you why?
Yes.
What'd you tell her?
That I was having problems where I was staying at that time.
That was with another girl?
Yes.
When you came over, did you come over with any property?
Yes.
What did you come over with?
Everything I owned.
Where did you put it?
In the garage, mostly.
And you have how many automobiles?
At the moment?
Then, in July of 2006.
One.
What kind of car was it?
97 Ford Thunderbird.
What do you have now?
Nothing at the moment.
What happened to the Thunderbird?
I traded it for a Harley-Davidson motorcycle.
When?
Last Sunday.
And what happened to the motorcycle?
It is being put together.
Between July and last Sunday, was the 1997 Ford the only vehicle that you had?
Yes.
Do you work, sir? Why do you have to question that? Do you work, Bird?
Yeah, I work.
Well, you know what I was...
Do you work?
Yes.
Do you work? Look how fast.
Well, you know why? Because I thought about the question you asked me right before that, if that was the only vehicle I had, because I also acquired another motorcycle before that.
When?
Beginning of August sometime.
Were you driving around that other motorcycle?
No.
Where was it?
In the garage.
Whose garage?
It is in Rebecca's garage.
When you left in August, did you take that motorcycle with you?
No, it was already in the shop being worked on.
Worked on for?
To get it running. It didn't run when I bought it.
Between the second or third week in August, after you had been with Miss Baca for 3 or 4 weeks, was the motorcycle in the shop?
It was in the shop, yes.
And you were planning on using it?
Eventually. Yeah.
Is not an answer.
Eventually, I don't have a motorcycle license, so eventually, yes, I planned on using it.
Now we'll get to my next question. Are you working?
Yes.
That was quick.
Where do you work?
I work for Cooper Tires.
How close is that to where you're living now with your girlfriend?
25 miles.
How do you get there?
I drive. I drive.
What do you drive?
Right now, I'm borrowing a car from my brother.
kind of car are you borrowing from your brother?
A Chevy something. I don't even know what it is. Yeah. It's a red car.
And you're borrowing that car until?
Until I can get a motorcycle license.
All right, Miss Baca. Now I have identified this personality. Now I'm going to try to identify your personality.
Okay.
You let him move in on July 14th. First mistake.
Yes.
The prior involvement that you had with him did not end well.
No.
It ended with a protective order.
Yes.
So despite the fact that it didn't end well, you allowed him to move in. And he slept on the... Don't look there.
Slept
Look
in my
here.
bed.
What?
He slept in my bed. All of his stuff was in my room, except for some stuff that was in the garage.
Why did you let him move back in with you?
I loved him. He said he quit drinking. He changed. We weren't like in a committed relationship, and it was supposed to be just friends that he was moving in, and he would sleep on the couch. But then with him being there for a night or two, he ended up sleeping in my bed. Not smart, I know.
Tell me about the car.
He found out that I had money in stocks.
How did he find out that you had money?
Because I was telling him that I was going to be buying Sea-Doos at the end of the summer.
CDs?
Sea-Doos.
Sea-Doos?
Yeah, for water.
CDs would have been smart. Sea-Doos are stupid.
Well, that's what he said. They're stupid. You should buy my motorcycle for me. And I was like, no. So he ended up saying that he would sell me his car for the money, which was $2,000, and he would buy the motorcycle that he was talking about previously that he got in August. He got that with my money. And I ended up selling him the car after he begged continuously.
You ended up buying the car, not selling him the car.
Oh, yeah, buying the car. And I didn't want to. I already have a car. I didn't have a purpose for it. But then after looking to see how much the car was actually worth and how much he was willing to sell it to me for, I thought it was a good deal. So I ended up giving him the money for it. And then my witness, Dawn.
Show me that you gave him the money.
The only stuff I have right here is from my UBS Financial, which is the stock company that I withdrew the money.
When did you withdraw the money?
The money was withdrawn and deposited into my bank account on the 27th.
Of what?
Of July. And then I have a bank statement saying that it was deposited and it was taken out the next day.
Taken?
Taken out the next day.
How was it taken out? In cash?
In cash.
How much was taken out?
$1,650.
That's a peculiar figure.
Well, because the agreement with the rent was that he would pay $350 a month after staying there for 2 weeks, and then with no problems, he would start paying $350 a month. So at that point, when I gave him the money, it had been about 2 weeks. So the $350 was with the $1,650 to make a total of $2,000.
I gotcha. When you lived together previously, were you splitting expenses?
He was paying, I think it was like $200 a month.
When you were living together previously?
Yes.
Was that in the same apartment?
Yes.
Now, what is this witness going to tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you first?
My name is Don Fry.
Fry?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was actually the one going to be purchasing the car off of her because he was buying the motorcycle for $2,000. So she's like, all right, I'll buy it, and then I'll buy it from her. And so that was the agreement.
Why didn't you buy it directly from him?
Because I didn't have the $2,000 to bring up. I was going to do monthly payments.
To her?
To her.
For how much?
$3,200. So it's $160 a month.
Okay.
I mean, this guy's a convicted felon for stealing from his own job. He got fired for stealing money. Why wouldn't he come on here and lie to steal money from me?
I think that's not relevant in the case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where did you think you were coming today, Mr. Strickland? To a tea dance?
I just didn't think that I needed very much evidence here
Mr.
in this
Strickland,
case.
are you serious with me?
And later today,
I just told him I wanted the money and everything, and he was intoxicated, so he got all mad and started trying to fight. He's like, I'll fight you over it right now.
What were you going to fight him over, sir?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rebecca Baca claims ex-boyfriend Micah Strickland owes for rent and for stealing her car. Micah says he never agreed to pay rent and the car belongs to him.
Mr. Strickland, you remember the date that you left?
I don't remember the exact date.
Do you remember when he left?
August 19th.
You were there for 1 month. You moved in on the 14th, you left on the 19th. Did you pay any rent?
No.
Why not?
There was no agreement to pay rent.
You had paid rent previously.
No, I had not.
Previously, when you lived together.
I had not paid rent then either.
Well, what are you, a sponge? What are you, a sponge?
No.
Well, you are if you don't pay rent where you live. Everybody pays rent. They pay a mortgage, they pay rent, they pay maintenance, they pay something. You mean except you?
Apparently.
You purchased the other motorcycle on what date in August?
I don't know the exact date.
Do you remember the exact date?
He paid for it on the 28th when I gave him the money.
Do you remember who he purchased it from?
It was a guy named Rick at his work. I went to the bank. I got the money out. I went to his work on his lunch. He got the money out from his bank account, went back. He gave it to the guy, Rick. And then the next day, on Saturday, I borrowed my ex-husband's truck, and we picked the motorcycle up from Rick's house.
I paid $50 for that motorcycle.
I'm sure.
Just a second. You have a receipt?
No, I don't, but it's written on the pink slip that I haven't gotten around to going down to the DMV with yet.
Well, where is it?
It's at home.
Well, where did you think you were coming today, Mr. Strickland, to a tea dance?
I just didn't think that I needed very much evidence here,
Mr. Strickland, are you serious with me? That you didn't think you needed any evidence in court?
Well, I just thought it was a pretty cut and dry case, being that it's my car. If I'd actually done something wrong, like I'd be in trouble for stealing. So I thought this was a pretty odd case. I'm surprised I'm in court over it.
Well, but Mr. Strickland, you are in court over it, so if you are in court over it, it would seem to me that an intelligent person would bring any evidence that they had to support their position.
Okay.
Not just stand there and say, look at me. What do you think Ms. Baca did with the money that she took out of her bank on the 27th of July?
I don't keep track of her finances. I have no idea what she might have done with it.
And would it be a fair statement that she did accompany you to Rick's house to pick up the motorcycle?
Yes, she did come with me to pick up the motorcycle.
Can I see your bank statement, please?
Yes, I also have an insurance statement saying that I added on the car that I never bought to my insurance policy.
I'd like to see it, please.
She put that on the insurance because she wanted to drive the car, and she didn't feel comfortable driving it without insurance.
Why would she want to drive that car when she had her own car?
She drove it a few times.
Oh, you're full of baloney, Mr. Strickland. You're full of baloney. So. Okay, Ms. Baca, this is the only problem that you have. What you are suing him for is the Blue Book value of the car, or what you had agreed to sell the car to Mr. Fry. That you cannot recoup from Mr. Strickland.
Okay.
But I believe you, and that's my job to make a judgment as far as who I believe and who I don't. I believe you. I believe your story. It makes sense. It is supported by the documents that I have here, especially the insurance, which indicates that the car was added to your insurance policy, and anybody would be absolutely crazy to add a car to their insurance policy and to pay insurance for a car when they already have a car that they want to drive once or twice. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So I believe you, but you are not entitled to the book value of the car. You are entitled to what you paid for it. And I believe that Mr. Strickland did agree to pay you $350 in rent. You took out the $2,000 from your bank, and the reason you took off the $350 was that you were reducing the amount by the amount of rent that he owed you. So I'm entering a judgment on your behalf in the amount of $2,000. That's it. Thank you.
Apologize, excuse. You may step out.
He didn't even acknowledge the fact that he did accept the money.
She's just trying to drag me back into court again.
He threatened to kill me the first time that he moved out. Stay away from Micah.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Oric versus Galvin. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Justin Oric is suing his former friend, 19-year-old Drew Galvin, for knocking over his Ninja motorcycle. Drew says the bike was parked in the wrong spot.
Mr. Oric, you were at a party, and the defendant was also at a party, and it is your claim that he damaged your motorcycle, which you had driven to the party. Mr. Galvin says that the motorcycle was, in fact, damaged, but it was your fault because you parked it in the wrong place. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me what happened, Mr. Oric.
I got off work about 9 o'clock. I called my friends, and they all said they were over at some girl's house, so I got directions over there. And I pulled up over there.
On your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of motorcycle is it?
It's a 1997 ZX7R Ninja 750.
Sounds very impressive. How much did you pay for it, sir?
About $3,500.
When did you purchase it?
In August of '05.
Okay.
I parked it, and he was sitting on the back of his car, and he was pretty intoxicated, and he let me know that. And
how did he let you know that?
Well, I shook his hand. He's like, "How's it going?" He's like, I could smell it. And he was like, "I'm pretty drunk," And I was just like, all right, yeah, whatever, that's fine. And I walked into the house because that's where pretty much everyone was. And I was sitting in there talking, and everybody heard this crash. I got up and ran over to the door. I noticed my motorcycle laying on the ground. He was over there trying to pick it up. Helmet was rolling around in a big puddle of water, and trying to figure out what was going on. He said he was sitting on it, and it fell over on one side, and that he went to pick it up, and it fell over the kickstand onto the other side, and that's the crash that we heard. And I just told him I wanted the money and everything. You know, he was intoxicated, so he got all mad and started trying to fight. He's like, I'll fight you over it right now.
What were you going to fight him over, sir?
I never said that, but that's beside the point.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
19 is too young to have any children, sir. You know, you have to find something else to do other than drink and make babies.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, go to the library. Expand your mind.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Justin Orrick claims former friend Drew Galvin knocked over his Ninja motorcycle. Drew claims the bike was illegally parked.
Why were you so drunk?
Actually, How
old are you?
I'm 19 years old. That's what's so silly about
You're
this
19,
whole thing.
just a second.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to be in control of this courtroom, Mr. Galvin, you or me?
You.
Right, so first stand up and take your hands off the table. Very good. You're 19, you can stand on your own 2 feet. That would be perfect. So why would a 19-year-old boy get so drunk? Is there nothing else to do in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, pretty much. There's nothing there. There's cows and, like, people with nothing to do.
So they drink?
The majority of them, yes.
You drink?
On occasions, yes.
Well, but you were drinking on May 6th.
Yeah, I had a little.
Did you go to school? Do you work? What do you do to
Yes,
occupy
ma'am.
yourself?
I
What-
work.
You work for whom?
Razorback Car Wash in Bryant for right now, but...
I didn't understand a word you said.
Razorback Car Wash in Bryant.
Razorback Car Wash. Okay, for right now.
Yes, ma'am.
How long?
Actually, whenever I get back, I'm going to be in the heat and air business. I've already got a job.
Great. And you're going to stay in Benton?
Me and my fiance are trying to figure that out now.
You're 19 and you have a fiancé?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any children, do you?
No, ma'am.
None expected.
No, ma'am. We were pregnant but had a miscarriage.
19 is too young to have any children, sir. You know, you have to find something else to do other than drink and make babies.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, go to the library. Do they have a library in Benton?
Yes, ma'am. There actually is. I've been there quite a few times.
Have you? How
Yes,
many
ma'am.
times?
I'd say whenever I was in school, about almost every other weekend.
You mean when you stopped going to school, you stopped going to the library?
No, ma'am. I started working a lot.
Well, but you still have time. You had time to get drunk, sir. I would suggest you spend your time in the library. You had time to make a baby, right? You have time to go to the library. There are other things that you can do
Yes, ma'am.
other than drinking and procreating at age 19. You can expand your mind, expand your horizons.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Galvin. Now, you don't really want to tell me that it was the bike's fault that it fell down because it was parked in the wrong place, do you?
Well,
you
sort
really
of.
want to tell me that, Mr. Galvin? You look like such a nice young man.
I have...
Misguided, perhaps, but a nice young man.
I have pictures of the spot where my car was and his bike right behind it.
Yeah.
Like it is a one-person parking spot. But I was on my way around the car whenever I tripped over it.
Mr. Orrick says that when he got to the party, you were sitting outside on your car.
No, actually, I was inside talking to Danielle.
No, you weren't, sir, because you were too drunk to know what in the world you were doing.
Well, I mean, if I was that drunk, how come the cops didn't bribe me? And in the police report anywhere, it
Why
doesn't
would
say.
they do that? You weren't driving.
I told him not to.
Shh. You weren't driving. He didn't want to get you into any trouble. That's not my question. You know how much you were drinking. Well, at least at the beginning you knew how much you were drinking. Did you end up staying at the house?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I did, and my belt was stolen.
Just a second. You ended up staying at the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you sleep?
In the bed with the girl that I was seeing at the time.
This was in May?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it the same girl that you're affianced to now?
No, ma'am. It's not.
So between May of 2006 and now, we have had a new fiancé and an almost baby. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.